Okay, so we're back on with Talkaoke. We're here at Republic. If you don't know what this is, it's just simply talking into this microphone. You'll get the hang of it after a while. My name's Mikey. Let's find out who we've got around the table. Tell us your name.
Hi, I'm Margot.
I'm Akbal.
Akbal and
Theo.
And who we got over there?
Khosrow,
yeah.
Helena. Lalita.
And I'm going to get your name when you get to the... What is that? Kim and Charles. Okay.
Some random stuff.
Okay, so what we're going to start off with, obviously we've been talking about a lot of subjects so far. Anyone got anything they want to kick off with? Christopher, you were telling us you were getting a bit annoyed because you had a landlord inspection and you had to remove the carpet. Has anyone else got any...
Why would your landlord require you to remove the carpet? They obviously installed it in the first place.
Well, let me just tell you, I'll tell the basics. It was outside and it was on the where the bird table was, and he said it was a slip hazard.
So it wasn't in the house, it was in the garden?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
and I'll
okay.
pay £10 for it.
What was it, like a piece of carpet?
And then he asked me to move a shoe rack as well, away from the front door to the back door.
Okay. Well, all right. Right, so we're racking up the questions here, yeah.
Does anybody want to read out the deep or the shallow thing? I mean, to what extent are housing arrangements conducive to breakup of a relationship? I just want to link with Helena's point. I mean, I have to say, when I used to date people and just go and stay in their shared houses, it was always such a mixed bag. And I know people don't always choose where they live, particularly when they are students or whatever. You just rent the cheapest place, probably. But I just can't help but just kind of judge a person a little bit based on where they live.
Okay.
In the room.
Are we being judged depending on? Are we being judged depending on where we live, Christopher? Are we going to come back on that?
Oh right, okay. Willoughby Road, number 36 Willoughby Road, which is and it's sort of.
Send your postcard, Christopher.
Yeah.
And they look around to see what's going on. It's a little bit like Margot when the Germans came into empty the Jewish when there were Jews living in Germany.
The house, and then the Germans took it over, and then they just. It's a little bit like that, sort of like you've got to get rid of this, you've got to get rid of that. Okay. You can't keep that in that place.
So it was a Holocaust of...
Big dictatorial, put it that way. It was big dictatorial, it felt a bit dictatorial.
Not my metaphor, but your metaphor, but... okay, so... Yeah,
Can I just say, that is like that with the local council, actually. You're not allowed to have flower pots outside the door, you're not allowed to have a little mat outside the door, just in case it's a trip hazard if somebody is running through the corridor if there's a fire. But if you go to any of the flats in my building, there are plant pots, there are bicycles on the stairwell, there are everything that the council says you shouldn't have.
Okay. Go on.
Yeah, it's just I've got an operation on Friday. I'm going to have a hip operation, and I'm not sure about that. But anyway, yeah. So, but I don't know where I'm going. I've got 16 steps where I live at the moment. I have got no accommodation. I don't know what's happening, and it's all quite stressful.
Okay, so once again, some quite difficult housing questions. Hip operation, but you've got 16 steps where you live. Anyone else got any housing questions, needs, thoughts about housing? Khosrow, come in a bit closer because you're a bit far away. Why are you being so distant? All right. Come in. All right. Or are you going to just come off of the scooter? No. You're just coming closer. All right. Okay, go and grab the mic then, Khosrow. What are you going to say?
Yeah, so talking about housing, I've had this issue for a few... You know, it's the West Ham relegation in here.
Go on. Give us that other table there. Something snapped because you're too far away. I was trying to say, get closer.
You haven't pulled the cable out, Mike.
Hang on. No, we can't. No one can hear you. You'll have to wait. Okay. Sorry about this. Okay, right. Let's try this again. Okay, this can't possibly go wrong. Go on.
Fantastic.
Okay, we're going to hear you now, Chris.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Nice and clear.
Yeah.
Right. What was I going to say? Yeah, I've had an issue for the last 3 years about my flooring, and it hasn't been changed by the council yet. So I do contact the housing despair team.
The housing despair team?
Yeah. So I'm taking the council to I've got a solicitor firm who are an expert on issues that they're not fixing up. So there's 3 subjects going on in my house. They're supposed to do the sensor lighting inside the house because of my multiplication issue. It hasn't been done. It was approved by the housing OT officer 3.5 years ago.
So you've been waiting 3.5 years?
Yeah. So that's one of them. And there's a trip hazard inside the house that hasn't been repaired yet.
What do you put it down to, the fact that you've been waiting so long?
I've been reporting this to the council by email, by phone. There's no action. I've also reported it to my social worker. They raised the question, and there's like no. They're saying they're going to do it, but there's no like. They send out workers to take measurements and stuff, and then they just leave the job as it is.
So there is that idea of...
I got frustrated. As soon as I got frustrated about the situation, I took that case to the housing despair team online, and then they got me connected to a solicitor, and I'm taking that route to sue the council for it.
Okay, so suing the council. Yes, Akbar?
I'm quite interested in this because...
why are you interested in this?
Because people complain a lot about private landlords and how terrible they are, and obviously new legislation has gone through recently and so on. And it sounds as though social housing run by local authorities isn't much better. In fact, doesn't sound very good at all. In my experience of private landlords, being one,
so you're a landlord.
If there is a problem, I mean, I don't actually deal with the properties myself, we have an agent, but they contact me and then it gets fixed because I don't have that time to be fixing it. I just tell them, they tell me this needs to be done. I say, okay, how much? Okay, do it. That's it. There's never taking hours and days and months and years to do things. It's ridiculous.
Okay, hang on.
But are you a landlord for 1 or 2 houses, or are you a landlord for several thousand flats?
Not several thousand, but a few. A few properties.
Take control.
Okay.
Mikey is doing a terrible job as a host, not taking control.
Yeah, okay, right. So what I'm going to do, in order to take control, I'm going to sum up the conversation so far, which is a lot of people are having problems with landlords, be they social landlords or private landlords. Akbar is a landlord, and he says he just gets on and does something. If there's a problem, he just fixes it. It's less hassle for the landlord to dwell on it. So that's where we are right now. Anyone else got any housing woes? I want to bring some new voices into this as well. Theo, any housing things that you want to bring in?
Well, I more want to respond and say I think when I hear issues around councils and like not being able to service people properly, I just think, well, they're totally underfunded, right? And they have been for a long time. And so if you don't have that context, then I can understand it's really, well, you should be frustrated anyway, right? But there's a reason why they can't do the stuff. And I think your example around your own houses, that's, I think I don't know if I would say that you're in a minority of landlords who are quick and able to just do things straight away. There's obviously a big narrative anyway that exists around landlords and them being difficult, hence the legislation.
Are you a landlord or a tenant?
I live at home right now because I can't afford to live outside.
Would you like to be a tenant?
Would I like to live outside of my own? Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would. And I have before. I have before, no. So, I mean, that's something, right? Like the ability of young people to get on the housing ladder, the ability of young people to...
Yeah, even to like rent a place.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we're living in a different time.
Okay, so we're living in a time... Sorry. Yeah, we'll come back to you, Kim. I've got you. See what I'm doing here? I've got you, Kim.
He's multitasking.
I'm also trying to keep Margot happy as well. Who had the hand up? It was you, Lolita. I think you had your hand up first, yeah.
No, adding on to what you were saying is just also the communication with the council is so difficult because although we've signed up for emails, they keep sending us paper mail and there's honestly no way to respond, and every time we have to respond to them with reference to something, I need to take pictures of the paper mail, attach it to the email, send an email, and they respond to the email with another paper mail. So the communication is so slow.
So it's almost like
miserable.
Communicating between the 21st and the 20th century.
No, literally, that's exactly how it is.
There's an era gap.
Yeah, and every time they come back to us, they extend our council tax deadline. But we've already paid like 2 months ago. You're still negotiating the same thing because you have to give us a refund, and they keep changing the number that we need to pay. It's just really confusing. As somebody who's not familiar with all of this, because I moved here only 2 years ago, and I started paying council tax only now because I'm not a student anymore, 3 months ago. It's really chaotic.
Okay. So a lot of different ways of communicating. We like to communicate with speech, but some people do it with letters, some people do it with emails. Helena.
Thank you. Yes, yes. So basically, sort of like building on your point and on your point, it's just that like I was reflecting whilst I was listening to you guys about the history of relationships between tenants and landlords. And the thing is that if I remember my history lessons correctly, like in the Middle Ages, and like even after that, at least in France and probably in many other places, so more than often it was very, very like, very, very wealthy people who were owning the land or who were owning the properties. And so my thought was that, is that fair though? Because like when I was like remembering, for example, the French Revolution or history lessons, it was always about, because people were very angry that these very wealthy, that these very, very fortunate people were owning the land.
So there was a whole revolution.
Well, precisely. Well, that was one of the reasons. So my question now would be, is there any other way that we could deal and like manage land that would be potentially a bit more equal and a bit more fair to everyone?
Okay, is there a more equitable way to manage land? I've noticed that Louise has put a comment in the chat, so it might be a good point to actually bring you in. Louise, what's your view I know you're coming in from New Zealand and it's like 8 o'clock in the morning, but that shouldn't change the whole dynamic of landlord and tenant.
Would the weather change?
Kia ora. I was just wandering into the kitchen to get another coffee, but here I am. I was actually just about to jump in and type. Has anybody been to New Zealand at the Talkaoke table? Okay, so here we have Indigenous people, Māori, who have
community owned?
Maori is community owned, a space in place that belongs to the tribe, to the Kiwi, and it's unconnected
to your table. And so I understand a few different systems. I've rented, my folks have owned, and I have to say that that model to me is a very equitable model for that particular iwi. So if you can take that Indigenous lens and work it into a diluted in places European melting pot, that could be cool, but take a while to change that thinking.
I mean, how would that work? That's not just a question to you, but to everyone. More the Indigenous, and I guess there's different Indigenous models of land distribution. Could that work? Has anyone got any thoughts from other parts of the world about how they do it? Go on.
Actually, I think there is a lot of work already in the UK around community. Oh my God, what am I trying to say? Community land banks, community-owned streets, community-owned parks. Like if you look at the examples from, say, Civic Square in Birmingham, that's often very, very popular. There's examples in Hastings. There is so much activity in this space that is incredibly exciting. There are also organisations based in the UK who are actively exploring these questions of what does it mean to go very, 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 very deep at the, like, yes, conceptual level of ownership, but also, like, what does that mean when you write it down in law? What does it mean when you write it down in land titles, etc.? If a house owns itself, if a street owns itself, like, these are the questions for me that are really exciting.
Yeah. So there's actually sort of, okay, there's this, the idea and the notions, but how does it actually work legally? And what's the word? Kind of just logistically, for want of a better word. Lolita, I'll come to you.
They do this a lot in India, actually. So one of the houses that I used to live in growing up was something that my dad bought through cooperative group housing society. So they round up a set number of people, they ask them to invest together, and they build up the property together, and then they live there. I mean, unless you pass on the ownership, you sell it, etc. But this is a model that they've been testing post-independence, which is like around 1950s-ish. And it's been quite successful. A lot of people who came into money in like the early 90s, 2000s, this is how they invested.
Okay, so it works in India. What are we going to say, Iqbal?
It's just the system of land ownership is ancient, and especially in this country. And it's something that's going to be incredibly difficult to move on from. And even if it was, so for example, cows.
How ancient is it?
Is it like 1066 and all that business? But certainly, it's a long time. And as far as the, when you have got socially owned buildings, structures, and accommodation, they don't seem to work any better than the privately owned stuff.
Okay.
From the sounds of it. I mean, I'm ignorant when it comes to council housing and so on. I've never lived in one, and I don't really know many people that have. And so it's difficult. I can only hear stories from you guys.
But you don't get the feeling it's a whole different kettle of fish.
It just seems like there's a huge issue on maybe on both fronts, but kind of. I don't know. It's going to be a hard job to kind of dismantle the capitalist structure in order to create something. And obviously I'd be disadvantaged if that happened.
Would you be upset if the capitalist structure got dismantled?
Oh yeah, absolutely, because I rely on a capitalist structure.
Okay. But
just a quick point before we switch hosts, but should there be an ex-capitalist safe space when the capitalism falls? Should there be a safe space for people who used to be capitalists? Anyway, so people, sorry. Anyway, so who wants to have a go in the middle? That's number one. Just put your hand up, or just give me the eyes. Or just okay, go Theo, you can do it. You can go over and under. If you're going under, it's pretty self-explanatory. If you're going over, go over the leg.
I'll demonstrate how it's done.
And
just sit here, knees together, spin around without kicking.
protect your modesty.
And then you're in.
What I will say is, we can obviously discuss this subject. It's a very, very popular subject. But if there is something that you are interested in that's got nothing to do with it, exercise your creative linking skills. Exercise your, skills to, just use this one. Exercise your skills. Use it still as a practice to turn opinion into question if you want to, even on the outside. Simplify or, all those things. So if you have a subject they would like to see linked to their current subject, great. Theo, welcome for the first time in the middle of the Talkaoke table. First of all, usually just ground yourself, say hello, ask everybody's names, and then, very important, ask what people want to talk about. They may want to talk about something else.
Hello everyone, welcome to Talkaoke. My name is Theo. Thank you for the claps. I would love to hear your names, so I'm going to go around the table. Here we go with one.
So I'm Charles.
Charles.
Lalita.
Lalita.
Helena.
Helena.
Khosrow.
Khosrow.
Kim.
Kim.
Mikey.
Mikey. Will do.
Akbal.
Akbal.
And I'm Margot, hi.
Okay, we have everyone in the room and online. If you want to come off mute and share your name. Louise, you first.
Kia ora, it's Louise here, and I'm
About to cook breakfast. No one talk to me. Okay. Christopher, are you there in the room? He's back.
Actually, I've got a subject.
Oh.
My mobile was virused, and I was going to put some of the bits back on. So perhaps we could talk about mobile technology or something.
Mobile technology. Do we have any takers for mobile technology or any other ideas? We're going to go here first.
Well, as I was in the middle, I didn't really get to say what I wanted.
Don't need to.
I didn't really get to say what I wanted to say about the about land and property. Maybe it could be, well, what about about cyberspace and about who gets to control all those websites and social media apps and whatever, which is a kind of land as well, a kind of property.
Okay, I like that. Let's go over here.
Mobility, like van housing and like people who live on trucks and stuff. Yeah.
Can you say a little bit more about that?
There's this whole subsect of YouTubers who say they're doing van life. They live in vans, they travel places. They don't really own any property, they just own their van and they make vlogs about it. They show you where they park, where they sleep, where they shower and things like that.
Okay, so we've got different ideas of ownership, whether physical, digital, mobile, immobile. Let's go over here.
Thank you. Yes, so I'm going to try to creatively link two things. So you were mentioning, Christopher, about mobile phones, and so the thought that popped into my head is that more than often mobile phones are expected to work super quickly, very perfectly, and super fast, and they don't have to relearn anything. But then what got me thinking is that...
It's a Trojan.
So earlier on, you were mentioning, Margot, about how in Talkaoke you have to be self-aware and you have to be in the moment. And so my question was, can you relearn these things? Because when you are a child, it's so easy to be, well, it may be easy, it may not be easy, but it can come like so naturally to be like in the present moment and to just be like playing around. But like as an adult, I find it sometimes very challenging to be in the present moment, especially actually when I'm doing Talkaoke, because I'm thinking about so many things and like I've got so many different ideas and so on. So yeah.
Okay. So what I'm getting from that is it's difficult to stay present, and that is connected to the amount that you're online. Is that what I'm hearing? That's okay. So, just gonna pause for a quick second and say that to me it sounds like we've got stuff about, I suppose, being based in place. And I think this community regeneration work that we're talking about, that takes a lot of time, and time that some don't want to spend because they don't want to stay in place, they want to travel, right? And then we've got, I suppose, some travel to run away from the pressures of modern life, which I think the phone runs into. So, with that all said, I'm going to go over here.
So, in terms of the staying present, I'm finding that incredibly difficult because I'm always looking at my phone. Always. I'm watching a film and I'm looking at my phone. I'm chatting to somebody, I'm looking at my phone. And this is obviously quite irritating that I'm doing this for people. I'm sure. I know it is. People say, why are you looking at your phone? I don't know. There's nothing happening on my phone. I just kind of, it's like a habit almost. But also linking your van life, that wouldn't exist without mobile technology at all. Because who's going to live in a van if they've got no mechanism of communicating with the world and the internet and so on?
Okay, love that intervention. Let's stick on this phone piece because I heard a lot of mms there. Question, is it irritating to others alone or is it irritating to you?
I was going to say, ask everybody that question, but then you did. It's irritating, but also it's a kind of an addiction. It's like a cigarette addiction, isn't it? It's just, you find yourself wanting to roll a cigarette, and it's almost like something chemical in your brain is just going down, and that's the way to boost it up again. Because I do it as well, but I've consciously tried to stop looking at my phone, and I've been semi-successful in that.
Okay, anyone else trying to reduce their phone usage? Ooh. Oh my God, we have a culprit. Well, actually, let's ask that the question. Why do you have your phone in your hand?
I do two things. I do multitasking. So, sometimes I'm checking on my emails and stuff.
And how do you think that links to the point that we were making over here around kind of lots of things going around in the mind, maybe difficulty staying present? Let's go over here.
I'm just thinking, has anybody, I've heard about people addicted to drugs or alcohol, and Alcoholics Anonymous and all that kind of stuff. Has anybody actually heard about kind of phone dependency units? Because I really think that we can all probably, I'm assuming, but I think everybody could do with a bit of detox from the machinery. I'm on it, I don't know why I'm on it. It's like it's addiction.
Okay, we're going to go here, and then we're going to go here, here, and here.
According to the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, the DSM, which is the Bible of psychiatrists, you cannot actually be addicted to telephone use because you have to be addicted to a substance. So for psychiatrists, that's not addiction, that's compulsive behaviour. I don't know whether that changes anything, but it is definitely compulsive behaviour that almost everyone has got.
Thank you. Let's go over here.
But actually there's studies that show that it activates the same kind of things in your brain as when you consume substances. And your brain still reacts the same way to technology sometimes. And it's so interesting now to me that we have technology to take away from your tech dependency. So there's a brick now that you can touch your phone to, and it turns off your phone. It can control. You can set up settings with which you can control which apps you can use. If you touch it back onto the brick, which I think is just an NFC chip actually, it changes the way your phone can be used. So you're buying more technology to stop using what you already own, which I just think is ridiculous. Like the fact that we need to have that.
Okay, over here.
Yeah, I've been listening to a thing saying that our brains are changing. I wouldn't say they're completely different, but our memories and the way we use our brains are completely different because we're lazy. because instead of reading a book or looking up in a dictionary or calculating, I mean, how many people you go to a shop and they don't know how to give you the change? They should be automatic. So our brains are changing, and then to that extent, we just need to readjust. But I think essentially, because I'm an old-fashioned guy, we're getting lazy. And we're not maybe using, instead of using the brain power in our memory, like when I was 20, I had 30 telephone numbers in my head, absolutely automatic. Now, I don't. So, to that extent, are we actually readjusting the way we think and using our brains in a more intelligent way, or are we just getting lazy and our brains are shrinking?
Okay, I'm going to press pause for a second and say, Christopher, I know you are there online. I'm going to come to you in a second. What I'm hearing is that, I suppose, we know it's bad for us. That's what I'm hearing. And I suppose there's that question of whose responsibility is it? Is it ours, like what you're saying? Or is it the responsibility of the people who are making the phones, the people who are making the platforms? You decide. Okay. I'm going to go to Christopher first, and then we'll come back to the room.
I was just going to say, when I went to sort this phone out to add back the things back on, they were talking about, that's to sell the people who are bundles with the phone. And
Sell but not help. That's an interesting reflection. Does anyone, there's a lot of ums around the table, does anyone want to jump in on that? Sell but not help. Let's go here first.
I just wanted to say, yeah, definitely, I agree. Sometimes my mum definitely had that experience where she's trying to get her phone fixed in Poland. She's an older lady, and they're just like, hey, how about you buy this or that? And she doesn't know, so the advice is not, there's just a sales pitch. But what I wanted to say is, like, when I go to shops, I think people maybe are too distracted to have manners, and maybe that's a completely different subject altogether, but I do think that people are not thoughtful of others, and it really pisses me off in shops when people don't say thank you or please. So can we outsource our manners to a phone? Can the phone just say for us if we're so fucking lazy? It's like, thank you to somebody serving us.
I'm gonna put a pin in that before we jump to others. Does anyone want to go on the selling point first?
Thank you. So it's just on the point about people being lazy and also people being thoughtless. I completely appreciate your points to Margot and to Charles, and I do agree. However, and especially on the point about people being lazy, I think that it's more complicated than that. Because especially for the younger generations who have like grown up with a phone and who have been very much like immersed in that culture, I think that it's the product of a very, very complex context, and that just saying that people are lazy, I think it is a bit simplistic and a bit reductive, basically.
Okay. Who was first out of you guys? I think you were first, right?
So, Charles, yes, growing up, we used to remember people's phone numbers. Now, I remember passwords, bank accounts, national insurance numbers, things like this that are more useful, because phone numbers used to be just, the house number, and you didn't need 6 people's phone numbers because they all live in the same house. Nobody's calling the house anymore, except my mum, but nobody else is.
But what you're saying is...
We'll come to you in a second.
I just think the lazy, yes, but I think that the problem with the word lazy is it's got a moralistic element to it. And one thing we learned before you arrived, Theo, was never blame the audience. So they're lazy because their brains want them to be lazy. So it's not like a moralistic, judgmentalist thing. And actually, when you encourage people to think a bit more, they actually enjoy it and they actually appreciate it. So it's more about how do we get people to not take the lazy option, not because it's they're bad for being lazy, but because they'll get more out of life if they think a bit more.
Again, I think this is my agenda, but I want to pose the question, whose responsibility is that? Is it the person who's using the phone, or is it the people who have designed the phone, designed the technology to be very, very easy?
Hello. Yes, I'm not going to try to break it. Don't worry, Margot. Interesting what you just said, Theo. I'll say, in between the three lines, I think all three parts will be responsible for that. Because in individual cases, person who's got the phone, yes, the parents who are providing the phone as well, and also the manufacturer who are making the phone, how safe are they for parental skills? Although there's control over the phone and stuff, you don't know what your kid or what your siblings are up to. Like, you could have phone, you've got like 6 people in one room, but they're communicating with each other by texting and talking by text, and they're not even talking to each other. You could be right a stranger inside the house.
I think that is the end of time. Thank you so much for the discussion, everyone.
How was it for you, Theo, before you jump out? How was it?
I quite enjoyed that, you know. It's, yeah, well, I do a lot of facilitation, so being able to like step back and just let the conversation unfold. I mean, for me, reflecting on myself, I think I had an agenda in that conversation. I have thoughts about this subject matter, obviously, so...
There's nothing wrong with having thoughts about it. The way that I thought... There's nothing wrong with having thoughts. The way that I thought you did that was very good, because you turned it into the open question that we're looking for. So, well, something I say to hosts all the time is, like, you know, I say don't give your opinions, but your opinions are really important because they kind of tell you what other people are thinking, and how do you come up with a question that's going to allow a person on the outside of the table to express a similar opinion. So you're almost going backwards, and I thought that you did that very naturally. Maybe you've had a lot of practice with that, but your questions you asked were actually very, very open. So, you know, it's like, who's to blame? I mean, I don't think you even need to say, is it this person, but just say, who's to blame for this? It go even wider. To a certain extent, you've got to give that to the people to do that. And I thought, if anything, if I was going to be critical at all, I would say that we're starting to break off into different subjects. One was about selling instead of helping. One was about laziness and the phone and the sort of the psychological nature of a relationship with a phone, and the other one was about responsibility. I mean, once again, you know, a lot of what we've been doing is about this kind of creative linking, so you could maybe ask a question that weaves those back together again. But you've got to make sure your threads don't go off and people start having different conversations about different things and weave it into one thread. But, you know, that's a more subtle point, but it's about weaving those things together a little bit more. Yes, well done. Great first go in the middle.
Yeah, go and be free. Okay, who wants to have a go in the middle? If you've never done it before, don't worry. It's just go on. I was like, and then you'll see what it's like to take on somebody who makes 7 points at once. How easy is it to handle that? No, but seriously, have fun. Anybody wants to have a go? Someone hasn't? Helena? Yeah? Do you want to go? Okay. So people remember there's a bunch of subjects. We can carry on the topics. We can change the topic. We can just infuse it with another topic. And don't be afraid to kind of, just ask. So we've got this subject. You can do a recap. You can actively invite people to offer another subject. Challenge for you, Helena, brevity.
Yes.
Yeah? And don't be too afraid you know, don't try to be too, what's the word, reconciliatory, or what's, it's like, you know, just be yourself. You don't have to please everyone all the time, so just... And what's so funny?
Pleasing everyone all the time.
Yeah, it's
It's a challenge for sure.
it's a challenge. Yeah, just take a risk. Just say something. Don't apologize for it.
Okay, cool. All right.
And most of all, have fun. I'm gonna go for a wee now.
Okay. Sorry.
Just take your time putting in seconds. Don't worry, we've got loads of time.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you. All right. Hello, everyone. This is Talkaoke. I am Helena. Who do we have around the table? We have
Akbel.
Theo.
I'm Margot.
Charles.
Lalita.
cool
Khosrow.
and Kim. Lovely. Okay, so what do you want to talk about? We can talk about anything. Oh, sorry. And we have.
Mikey.
It's just that, Mikey, you're such a fixture at the Talkaoke table that it's like you're always there. Okay, so what do we want to talk about? Shall we? So we were just having a discussion about cell phones and being present in the moment, as well as generosity versus laziness and responsibility. Yes. Yes, of course.
Charles was going to comment on my comment regarding remembering passwords and bank account details and things like that.
Okay, thank you, Akbar. So yes, Charles, what was your comment?
So, basically I was saying that we don't use our brains in the same way, but he was using his brain in a similar way, but using different things to memorize it. So keeping his brain active, that was my point. The point was that he's keeping his brain active.
Okay, so great point, Charles. But then how do we keep our brains active then? Yes, Mikey?
I mean, it's kind of, just as the Earth is round, it's kind of well known that in the last 8,000 years, our brains have got smaller. And that's just a fact. And that, I imagine they'll continue to get smaller. Like, in the times before writing, you had to memorize all the great poems, the canonical poems like the Homer's Odyssey or whatever it might be, or the Epic of Gilgamesh. You had to memorize these things, and that would have been extremely time-consuming and tedious and require a lot of effort. But as things have gone on, we started being able to write things down, and that immediately made our brains smaller. And we stopped living in a harsh jungle forest land where we were about to get attacked by a saber-toothed tiger at any moment.
Okay.
That sense of security made our brains smaller. So it just happens, but maybe it's not such a bad thing.
Okay, so when was the last time that any one of you learned a poem by heart then? Yes, Mikey?
Well, actually, I learnt one last month, and I'm learning some more, because if you come to Oxford House, just behind Bethnal Green Road, on the 10th of June, you can come and see me recite some of these poems that I've learnt by heart. But I have to say, it's very hard to do that.
Yeah.
Oxford House, open mic, if you want to recite some poems or do some other performance, there's still slots available. 10th of June.
Thank you, Mikey. Yes, Cosmo?
Is it wheelchair accessible, Mikey?
Yes.
Okay, so, yes.
Yes, and it's free to get in.
Lovely. So just a bit of advertisement for Mikey's poetry, 10th of June, Oxford House, and it is accessible. Lovely. Yes, you had a point, Theo.
I suppose there's something about the inevitability of technology, or that narrative at least, and how technology is always about making our lives easier, blah, blah, blah. But I think for me at least, this conversation needs to consider artificial intelligence, because that feels like a step change in the type of cognitive work that we do. And I mean, it's interesting that you mentioned poetry, and I think, like, you know, the story of Gilgamesh and all these things. At what stage do we feel like technology is actually it's like kind of chipping away at parts of us that we really value, and is taking away what it means to be human? Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. So on that note, could AI write the Odyssey, for example? And yes, Lolita?
Sorry, this is a slightly different tangent than what you mentioned. But I read recently that we used to have a wayfinding sense that we completely lost ever since we started mapping places. It's really interesting, but some animals have compasses in their brains that help guide direction because obviously they don't read or write. But we've lost that skill, and apparently that's also something we can regain. So if you quit using maps and you just try to figure out directions yourself as you go, there's a wayfinding sense that you can grow back in your brain, and I think the fact that you can increase your cognitive capabilities in today's day and age is just crazy.
Whoa. Okay, so what about you, Kim? You don't have any thoughts?
Do you feel like your brain's expanding or getting smaller?
Okay, neither. Okay. Fair enough. What about you, Kozru? Have you ever written poetry?
Yes, I have.
Oh. Can you tell us more?
I've done it a few times. I've done it last year. I've done it before. I've done it a few times. I've done it this year as well.
Cool.
It's quite interesting. I try to blend the poetry with my real story as well. Sometimes the music theme goes into it as well. So I try to blend all three together.
Well,
and I do enjoy it. It's really nice.
Wow, thank you very much, Cosby. That's really cool. Yes, Charles, you had one?
Yeah, my dad always said, you never grow up until you start reading. And I think reading, it's gone down by 40% this year or last year. And I think people read maybe on their phones and different things, but they don't read books like books. And I think that's I think that's a problem, because I think it's going to be in a situation where people, they're not thinking for themselves. I know it sounds an arrogant thing to say, but it's kind of the way I'm feeling, that because everyone says, oh well, yeah, just Google it, and so they're not thinking, they're just Googling it. And so I find that a bit of a problem.
Okay.
So that's really what I've got to say.
Okay, thank you, Charles. Yeah, I saw that, thank you. So, Louise, I can see that you have a lot to say by typing on Zoom. Would you want to share it out loud with the rest of us? Yeah? Yes? Okay. Cool.
Sure, nobody takes no for an answer at this table, do they?
No.
I've just taken the eggs out, about to eat. But sure, as I've said right there, we are looking, I missed your name, sorry, but looking a lot more at wayfinding here in New Zealand.
Yes.
And we use tech to do it. So things go hand in hand over here.
So wait, could you just clarify for my sake, what do you use tech to do exactly?
Wayfinding. There was just a conversation about everybody's looking at Google Maps rather than, doing wayfinding. So what I'm saying here is that wayfinding is having a revival, I guess, led by a Māori festival, Indigenous again.
So has anyone ever done some wayfinding around here? Yeah, Mikey?
Well, I don't like using Google Maps, and I like to try and just do it by myself. And I think it is, to me, once again, it's not because it's not like a moral thing. It's just like more fun and more. I find it more stimulating. This is the thing that for me, like just kind of like beat people up for using Google Maps or for using all these online things, AI. It's not the point. The point is actually you get more out of it if you use your brain, because your brain is a wonderful thing that has all these capabilities, and if you don't use them, then it's a bit like doing yoga, I think. Like, I didn't know that I had a very poor sense of balance, or that I couldn't really move my hips at all until I started trying to do yoga, and that actually was fun. Just what I'm trying to say, it's fun to actually expand your potential.
Okay, cool. So just one thing, can yoga impact your brain then? Yeah.
100%, because our brain its main job is moving the body around and helping us survive.
Great definition. Thank you, Mikey. Yes, Akbar?
So,
Yeah.
2 points.
prayer book.
kind of.
Oh, 2 points.
So as far as the wayfinding, I live in Kent and I drive around Kent quite a lot, and places, the roads get closed, diversions happen. Google Maps is absolutely of no use at all. So you have to use wayfinding skills because whoever the hell puts out the diversion signs is there deliberately to take you 50 miles out of your route. So yeah, you do end up using these things. As far as yoga goes, it's a meditative practice, so it should help you with your mind. It isn't all about stretching and positions. So.
Okay. Yes, Margot, I think you had your hand up.
I don't have time for wayfinding because I'm always late. So I rely on Google Maps or the city mapper just to get to a place at the last possible moment, because I just can't, and I don't have the skills of east, west, north, south recognition to know where things are. Maybe I just see, I don't know, maybe I interact with the outside world differently, but also I feel like I can't just, in a busy city like London, I can't be just like, oh, is it here? Oh, because then I think, I could be wrong about this, but I think that makes me look quite vulnerable, or, it's like, oh, this person clearly doesn't know what they're going. And I just want to avoid that, which is interesting because my friend who was on this call earlier, and now he's not, we were having a conversation about safety in London, and I said, I've never felt unsafe in London, not really. And I'm a woman, so in theory I should be feeling unsafe all the time, but I've never felt really unsafe. And he said, well, that's interesting because my wife, who was living in London, she was followed home twice. But I do think whether, how much confidence you give off when you're walking in the street, and knowing where you're going is a big part of that, I think.
Yes. What? Oh, sorry.
It's north now.
Okay. So right. So where's north? Where's south? We always have Mikey, who's always at the Talkaoke table, and who can always tell us where's the north. Yes, Mikey.
I'm your conversational compass.
Woohoo! He's our conversational compass, everyone. Woo! So yes. So, so I can see that Louise is talking a lot about indigenous practices on the chat, and so I just wanted to link that in the following way. So, basically, yeah, okay, yes, cool. So, do we feel that it was easier back then in different cultures, in more traditional settings, or is it easier to live in a city? Is it safer? Is it nicer? Any thoughts? Yes, Mikey? And then we'll go to other people.
Well, there's a lot of linguists love talking about this subject because in some languages there's no north or south. Like there's one particular indigenous group that lives on the slope of a mountain and they've just got uphill and downhill rather than north and south because it makes more sense. I'll leave it at that.
Okay, thank you. Kim, Kazu, Theo, you've been a bit more quiet. Do you have any thoughts about uphill, downhill? Is the conversation going uphill? Is the conversation going downhill? What are your thoughts?
Well, I know that there's another indigenous tribe that instead of saying "How are you," they ask for directions, and the response you give in direction is like, are you where are you? I'm north by northwest or something. And that means I'm good.
Cool.
And apparently they, because it's embedded in their language, they are very, very good at wayfinding because it's all they talk about. Ari, your question on what was it? It was around city,
Yeah, city. So basically, how do we feel about living in a city? Is it better or is it worse than to live in different places?
Okay, so I think when you asked that originally, I thought it was if you were indigenous, what would you prefer, living in cities or living in...
For example, but it can be like much broader than that too.
So, I think I wanted to respond to that, like, if you're indigenous question, because I think, to me, indigenous peoples, groups, etc., they have like a completely different worldview, right? Of how they see themselves in relationship to a place, connected to a place, connected to nature, the living world, whatever you want to call it. And because of that, and typically that's like, means that they're also outside of cities typically, right? We, right now, are in the globe's like greenest city, I think, in the world, I might be wrong. National Park City, also loads of concrete, right? And I wonder the extent to which people in this place feel embedded in the living world in the same way in which indigenous peoples do. So I think there's like, I've raised a lot in that, but it's about, are we, to what extent, if we live in a city, do we separate ourselves from these values, ways of seeing and thinking that indigenous peoples have been developing for a long time? We're trying to like relearn from them.
Okay, so basically, I'll try to sum it up and be very brief. Can we be connected to a city? Can we feel safe in a city just as much as in some other places? And Akbar, you had a point, I think, yes?
So, London's existed for very nearly 2,000 years as a city. So, people can be indigenous to a city. And you know, this idea that you have to be in the wilds of Africa or somewhere. I think you can be indigenous to cities. Cities have existed all over the world, in India and in Africa and all over the world, for certainly hundreds of years, many for thousands of years. And people will have grown up and multiple generations within those cities. And so being indigenous doesn't necessarily involve nature or the countryside or any of these things.
So just to clarify then, what does it mean to be indigenous? Because it seems as if we all have like different definitions maybe of it. Yes. Lolita, I think you had up.
Yeah, a lot of the times these indigenous settlements are just as sophisticated as an urban sort of setup, and just because the intelligence is documented in a different way, sometimes it's not written down, it's passed through orally, it doesn't mean that it's any less intelligent or sophisticated.
Yeah, absolutely. So, which is something that I would like to use in the potential definition of indigenous, because indigenous can. Right. Sorry. Yes. So. Sometimes it seems as if no, that's not a question, sorry, my bad. Yes. So why does indigenous have such a different meaning for so many different people? Yes, Mikey?
I mean, I think indigenous has come to mean not from the kind of mainstream way of thinking or way of being. But in a way, as Akbar says, we're all indigenous, and both me and Akbar are indigenous to Gravesend, which is a very weird idea. But, there's a slight kind of colonialist edge to this definition, because we're kind of saying that, these people on the outside are indigenous, kind of meaning they're born outside of the system, I suppose, that we're fully encapsulated in.
Okay. So, yes, Margot?
No, just a little thing I can't help but notice all the Kent people are sitting together.
Yeah. Yes, yes, Charles. Yeah. Oh, yeah, wait. Khosrow had a point, then I'll come to you. Yes, Khosrow?
Oh my God, I've just realised Iqbal's got that, the logo on for the People Speak. I've just realised that. Amazing. Well done.
Yeah. Woo! Yeah. So yeah. So yes, Charles, you had a point.
Yeah, we talk about indigenous, which essentially means the origin, but now today with travel and everything else, you can be indigenous from a certain place, but you travel the world. And I also think it's I was lucky, my grandfather, he had a farm, and he used to know how eggs and cows and people grew up. But I think it is important for people, even in cities, to actually understand nature and how things actually work, and just simple things like the smell of jasmine, you know.
Okay. So, could you just tell us more, and then I'll go on to you, Christopher, about the smell of jasmine. Like, what does it mean to you, Charles? Because it seems important.
It was because when we used to go on holiday in Brazil, the power of it was just such a powerful and beautiful scent. It was just pleasure, and it was nature producing its scent.
Okay, so what about the sense of the city? But then, just before we move on to that question, Christopher, you had a point. Exactly.
I was just going to say, it's like Boston, UK. The indigenous people, the Pilgrim Fathers, went to Massachusetts. They were indigenous.
Yep.
And when we take over and that, so really, Boston's a good example.
Okay. Yeah. Well, absolutely. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I can see you, Mikey. Just wait a second. There we go. Yes, Mikey.
I think Charles has got a very good point, because a lot of people that grow up in Tower Hamlets think that meat comes in a plastic tray and it comes from the supermarket, when if you come from Gravesend, you know that meat in a plastic tray has originally come from a distribution centre.
Okay. Woo! Mega point! Yes, Margot.
And pigeons in Tower Hamlets think it's okay to eat fried chicken, but it's not actually natural food for pigeons.
Yeah, but then again, guys, what is natural food then? Is it like, what is it? No, but like, is it something that you find on a farm? Yes?
There's all this talk about ultra-processed and processed and all of this stuff. And do you know what? I quite like ultra-processed stuff. And
Why? Why do you like it so much?
Because it tastes nice on the whole, and it's convenient. And I don't know that... What we do know is that over the years, the more we've been processing stuff, people have lived longer and remained healthier for longer.
Okay.
Now, does that mean that ultra-processed food, is bad? We know that, 200 years ago, everybody was eating organic and everybody was eating fresh and whatnot, and no chemicals, no additives, no ultra-processing, and they were all dying at 30. So, I don't know.
Okay, thank you, Akbar. Khosrow, you had a point?
Interesting what you just said, Iqbal. Processed food, I do not agree with, although I'm part of taking it, but I totally disagree with it, because it's creating more health issues, and it's a disaster. It's absolutely a disaster, and I find it more and more takeaways and stuff, more and more like easy food, and it's making people lazy as well, because they can order in Uber and stuff, so it's like you're not even doing exercise properly as well.
Oh, okay.
And becoming lazy, and I find it disgusting.
Okay, so a very strong take from Khosrow about processed food versus Akbar's point. Yes, so we had, I'm going to have to call it at a close, but I can see that Theo had a point, Lolita had a point, Mario had a point, and I think that Mikey also had a point. But thank you very much. That was Talkaoke. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Helena. Really great job in the middle. I wanted to ring fence the last 10 minutes of this session in case anybody who hasn't had a go wants to have a go. But this was a very interesting one. I thought you made a lot of great links, and it's very, very good. Who would like to have a go? And if you've never done it before, if you've done it before, if not, I'm going to jump in.
Okay.
Lolita, do you want to have a go? Too scared? Okay. Charles?
I'm all right.
Jesus. Let's. Kim, are you serious, guys? Oh, Jesus. Okay, I'll take this one. What's strongly? Okay, well, all right. Well, which way are you going, Helena? Which leg? What's the leg of your choice? Okay, go from down there. All right, well, now it looks mega stupid. Guys, I want to have a go in the middle. I didn't, but I'll do it. So let's give Helena a big round of applause, and to Theo, whilst we at it, and to Mikey, and all the great Talkaoke hosts who preceded us. We build on their shoulders. Thank you for this. I just don't want to get that wrapped up. All right, so it's fine. It's last 10 minutes. I'm going to go rogue just with this microphone. So, okay, welcome to Talkaoke. It's still Talkaoke, and welcome to people online. Welcome to Christopher, to Louise, who's been prolific on the chat whilst cooking breakfast. So that's multitasking at the next level. Just for the protocol, let's get some names. Who do we have?
Charles.
Lalita.
Helena.
Khosrow.
Kim.
Mikey.
Akbal.
Theo.
Okay, and I'm Margot, and this is Talkaoke. What do we want to talk about? We had some healthy food, we had some unhealthy food, ultra-processed cities, ultra-processed nature. Yes.
I want to talk about breakfast.
What do you want to say about breakfast?
About how most people don't even eat it anymore. It's not really a meal anymore.
People don't eat breakfast. Is that a problem? Anybody's emotionally involved in this topic?
I mean, I love breakfast. It's probably one of my favorite meals of the day, actually. Well, mostly because I have cheese with my breakfast, so that must be why. But yes.
Okay. Are people hating on breakfast because they're not having enough cheese? Would that change their habits?
I eat the Cuban breakfast, which is just coffee, black coffee.
Just cigars, but no, just coffee. What's your attitude about breakfast?
I only have tea rather than coffee, but yeah, I generally don't have breakfast otherwise.
Okay, I'm going to go around a circle on this. Akbar, what do you have?
I usually do have breakfast, and it's coffee and usually bacon, eggs.
Do you get them out of packet or a distribution centre, or do you go and hunt and make yourself?
I hunt the pig and slaughter it myself, and I have it hung in the shed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Owned by the council. Okay, great. So we're getting some kind of people's habits here. Kim, what is your emotional relationship with breakfast?
I love breakfast. I have cereal and then I have toast with peanut butter.
I like that. Do you think your breakfast experience would improve if you added some extra cheese?
Only if I'm thinking of a European breakfast.
Okay, so European breakfast, cheese on cereal. What are your emotional feelings and thoughts on breakfast?
Depending on my mood, actually, if I wake up being stroggy, I wouldn't be up for breakfast. I'll just have tea or coffee. But if I'm like in a good mood, I'll have a proper breakfast and go out.
Okay. So breakfast is the champions, the good mood breakfast. Okay, I can see your hands. I'm going around. So we know your breakfast feelings and emotions, and we do have yours, Charles.
Yeah, my dad always had a cooked breakfast, but
Did he slaughter his?
no, but he did have his own chickens and whatever, and beehives and all that stuff. But no, I prefer to have a little snack, either a piece of toast or a croissant. I married a French woman, so yeah, a bit continental.
Okay, so keep it continental, guys. That's the best way, apparently. Christopher and Louise, I want to ask you about your feelings about breakfast.
Oh,
do you eat
okay.
breakfast? Yeah.
I got confused about the other subject.
Which one? Well,
You were
just talk
talking
about breakfast.
Oat bread, oat toast, with toast,
Oat toast?
with honey.
Toast.
Yeah.
Is toast considered a processed breakfast? That's just a question out there.
Well,
yeah?
Yeah, go on.
All right, thank you, Christopher. Louise, what did you cook for breakfast in the end? I know it was something about eggs.
So it's a work morning, and it's busy, so I just grabbed a couple of really big boiled eggs. But on the weekend, I'm a big breakfast person. I like a smoked fish kedgeree or pancakes. Or, you know, maybe bacon and some potato rosti or kumara rosti. Yeah, and a lot of coffee, little espresso stovetop. I'm all about breakfast.
Okay, so your breakfast, I'm kind of multi-layered. You got excited, Charles, about a particular dish. Yeah. What is a kedgeree for those like me who have not...
Rice with fish. It's rice, fish and boiled eggs and a bit of curry.
Okay, so we're learning something.
But like leftover rice. Yummy.
It's got to be leftover, okay.
It's better if it's leftover rice.
I mean, are there any other things which are better generally when they're leftovers? They're not fresh things?
Coffee. I just want to move the conversation onto coffee because I'm not interested in any of the other breakfast. And I just leftover coffee. Sometimes it's good if you find. I love it when I find that like a half a cup of coffee that I've forgotten about. I thought I drank it and I just put it in the microwave. It's really good because it just, all the sediment settles to the bottom that you don't have to drink.
Okay, fine. What's your favourite leftover thing?
Cheese.
Okay, leftover cheese. I mean, are there any other things which are better when they're just kind of not fresh?
Pizza's good.
What's the advantage of not fresh pizza?
Oh, is it not fresh? No. What? Congealed cheese? Well, I don't know what cheese. I don't know, it just tastes better the next day.
Okay, so pizza tastes better next day. Anything else tastes better the next day?
What about marinating things?
Yeah, what about it?
Well, if you want to marinate something for like a couple of days, that would be better than half an hour, you know.
Okay.
Pickle stuff. Yeah, like sauerkraut and kimchi and stuff like that. The longer you let it marinate, the nicer it is.
Kim, are you named after kimchi?
Am I what?
Are you named after kimchi?
No.
I just wanted to check. Okay, so is anybody marinating something right now, or what's happening?
Pancake batter is better when it's a day old.
Raw?
Pancake batter, yeah. And then you do it the day before, and then the next day it's better.
Okay, so things which are better next day. 1 second, don't grab the mic.
It's all about timing, and the next day it's batter. Anyway,
I love that one.
the only thing I marinate ever is tofu because it's essentially tasteless. But generally, I don't marinate it in time, so it generally only gets marinated for half an hour, but it should be marinated for 24 hours. But if you leave it for 48 hours, it gets over-marinated.
Okay, have you ever over-marinated something, tofu? I mean, what about blandness? Is blandness part of life, human experience? I'm trying to deepen this conversation desperately, but I may not succeed.
Yeah. Okay, so 2 questions. So one for Mikey. So Mikey, how do you marinate your tofu though? I'm really intrigued because I've never marinated tofu before. So
what have you processed in terms of food before?
Cheese.
Okay, I think I know how this is going to go with Helena. It's going to be the same answer for every question.
No, I was like the cheese, great.
Great.
I was going to go back to breakfast.
Yeah.
The other breakfast I love is when I go to Germany, getting up in the morning and then going to the bakery and buying loads of pastries.
Okay, pastries, yes.
This is not about pastries, but it's about breakfast. I think the reason lots of people don't have it anymore is because nobody knows how to cook anymore. And they also much rather pick up a meal deal than actually make themselves a breakfast. They're always on the go.
Is our civilization falling because we've forgotten how to cook a good breakfast? We've got 2 minutes, guys, to deepen this before we sign out.
I gave you the way to deepen the conversation, but you didn't take it out. Coffee. It's the meaning of life. It's the meaning of life.
What is the meaning of life? And I mean, are the Deliveroo options just killing civilization? Can you order a leftover pizza from Deliveroo? Have you ever tried that?
I haven't tried that, no, but it's always the first time.
Okay, would you consider it?
Well, I don't really take takeouts really, so I probably wouldn't know.
Well, On that note, cheese, no, I'm kidding. Yes, so just to make it clear, so there is an app called Too Good To Go that is like a great app, and so I'm pretty sure that you could have leftover pizza from Too Good To Go, actually.
Okay, Too Good To Go. Should there be some kind of an app for like the pickle for me? Or?
I'm just gonna put a question to Helena right now. Do you like Pacific cheese, or it has to be any cheese?
Okay, you're really not helping there, Khosrow, but Helena maybe can answer that in her own time. Mike, you've got it.
Full English breakfast. That's really good on a Sunday morning in a nice hotel. Brilliant.
Does English breakfast taste better for English people?
I think we've come up with a new business concept, which is Deliveroo. Instead of Deliveroo, Deliveroo. And it's a combination of Too Good To Go and Deliveroo, where you get all the old leftovers delivered to your house.
Okay. Not because it's cheaper or it's more sustainable, no, because it's tastier. Yeah. And that is the reality we all have to face too. The final point?
Just the whole full English. I've watched so many YouTube videos.
Say in 3 words.
Americans don't know how to eat.
Okay, I'm going to take that point. Americans don't know how to eat. I'm going to take some final thoughts from everybody. Think of a final thought. It's going to be really, really rapid. Any final thoughts, Theo?
This is crazy.
Okay, that's crazy for Theo.
I wrote a poem about the history of coffee, but...
We've got time for Kim. Any final thoughts?
It's getting very chaotic.
It's getting very chaotic, but I'm in control. Don't worry, I've got this.
Cheesy flavour.
Yeah, and it goes for football as well. There's some cheesy teams, yes?
Yes, so really quickly, I'm doing a Talkaoke gig next week, like in a festival for the first time with Margot and Mikey, and I was very nervous about it, and like today really made me more at ease and like very excited to do the gig, so yeah.
Okay, Helena's excited about some obscure gig in some European country.
I love breakfast.
Love for the breakfast, yes?
Yeah, start with an espresso.
Is espresso. Christopher, any final thoughts? And Louise?
I was going to say, like Celia in Svalbard, where she keeps saying, I just want another coffee. About this Cuban coffee.
Okay, so Cuban coffee? Cuban coffee, okay, so the same as Mikey. Louise, final thoughts?
All those breakfasty coffee thoughts, but fun section today. Really different to previous. Enjoyed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We like to surprise our Talkaoke people, so thank you all very much for coming, and thank you for sticking around for quite a few sessions actually now. So we're going to take a little break. I will do a final shout out. If you enjoyed what you experienced, we are having currently a fundraiser going. Any penny is good. If you can donate, if not, share the petition, share the fundraiser. We are moving studios. We are going just down the road. Fingers crossed. Keep everything crossed for us that we actually get the keys, because it's not given yet. And when we do, we're going to do a lot of refurbishing and things. So, yeah, if we don't get the keys, then we'll need the money for storage. So donate anyway. So if you enjoy what we do, all for free, please donate. Thank you, good night. People go home.
Have a big shout for Margot in the middle.